All right, so this video is going to be the last one in the episode. What you might do wrong with your cast that could have an impact as your fly hits the water, can make it do different things. This really isn't about that. This is what I call second chance cast. So what am I talking about? Let's set the scenario. We're in Florida Bay. You might have a string of tarpon, or in the ocean with a string of tarpon. What does that mean? 2 fish, nose to tail, 3, 4, 5. I've seen some in Florida Bay, 12 and 15 long a fish, or on the ocean up to 50 or more. So we want to get a chance at all of those fish. So here's the problem that occurs a lot of times. Immediately the angler will see that lead fish, won't check out everything else that's going on. They get fixated on that lead fish and they make the cast. If it doesn't work, they keep casting as that fish is going away. Now, if you don't know there's more fish behind that lead fish and you keep aggravating that lead fish and he bends away, takes everybody with him. You don't get any other shots. Don't fixate on that lead fish. When you see that fish, take a look behind it. And let's make sure that you can identify, is there 1, 2, 3, who knows how many might be behind it. So if you decide to throw at that lead fish and it doesn't work, I then want you to be able to pick that line up and make casts to the back fish. I've caught a lot of fish fishing that way, throwing it second, third, fourth fish, putting it out there, stripping it once. And I got to tell you, there's sometimes fish eat that you don't even see. I've had fish come up from underneath those fish because just because in Florida Bay, where it's milky, you can see the top fish, you may not know if there's fish underneath it. Now in the ocean, real clear, you've got a really good idea. But again, this is about how do we get that fly to that second opportunity and third opportunity, because we don't want to miss any shots to come by. So let's set the stage. Normally we're on the flats boat, we're up on the platform. So I've got us here at a lake. I'm up on a bank, gives us a lot of lift with the fly rod. We're using our 12-weight rod, bigger flies for Florida Bay. Here comes a string of tarpon. You start making your cast, which might be 50, 60 feet. You've already seen, assessed the situation. You know how many fish are there. You make a good cast to that lead fish that might be, who knows, maybe it's a 5 to 10 foot lead. But let me tell you, a lot of times those fish, for whatever reason, stop. And when that lead fish stops, everybody behind him stops too in most cases. Or a lot of times you'll see them run into each other and just kind of roll. But they hang tight. They're waiting for that lead to move again. So what happens? You've got that 50 feet of line out there. You've got your butt section. You've got your fly. That butt section and fly are sinking. And as I told you, with milky water, they don't see it as well. You've got to almost get that fly where it goes right by their nose and you get an instinctive bite. They want to jump out and get it. So we've got to make a second cast. The key is, how do you get that fly out of the water quietly to get that second cast? Well, a lot of times what happens, and I've seen it and I've done it myself, I've got that cast out there. I see that it's not going to work. I want to get it back to those fish real bad. And I just do something really dopey. I try to pick all the line up out of the water. I got to tell you, you try to lift 50 feet of line out of the water, you send shock waves through that water. You'll see in a moment when I show you. It makes all kinds of surface action, and those fish feel it and they start to duck down. And when you make that lead fish duck down, it takes everybody with it. And now, where you might have had a second and third shot, you've lost it. It's over. And we want to take advantage of every opportunities that show. So what I'm going to show you here in a minute is how I quietly get that fly out of the water. So how are we going to do that? Murky water, out back. We're going to strip. Like I said, we've got 40 feet of shooting head out to the butt section. Now what we're going to do is we're going to strip into that shooting head to a point which I call a lift point in your line. You've got to determine what that is. I can strip to a middle note of about 35 feet what's left in the water, and then I lift up that amount of line. I'm pulling the fly line out of the water quietly. The only thing that ends up being left in is about 4 feet of butt section to the fly, and at the last second I just pop it at the surface. The fly comes out so quietly, almost no surface action occurs, and you can get that second cast. You pop it out slowly, adjust your strokes, get a couple false casts, put it right back out to the target, and hopefully it works. So again, you're going to strip. Muddy water, you can strip pretty quickly. The fish isn't going to see the fly in a lot of cases. You're going to get to your lift point. You've got to determine what that lift point is. It's different for everybody. I've seen people who can pick up a lot more line than me. I just can't do it. Mine is at about 35 feet. We're going to get to that lift point, and then we're going to lift up, and just pop it at the top, get it going. So let's show you that. Let's take a look and see what this looks like. So we're going to go ahead and throw. Now it's very windy out here today. We're going to throw, let's say we've got our 50 feet of line here right now. It didn't work for whatever reason. And this is what I've done and others do. You just try to rip it out. You notice how hard that was to get that out of the water and all that surface action that occurred. I hope the camera can pick this up, but watch. Again, it's just ripping it up. You'll see that the water is coming shooting off the line. It's making all kinds of noise. You don't want to do it. One more time. You don't want to just rip it up and throw it out there. So let's go ahead and get our cast working again. Right out there to the target. For whatever reason, it's not going to work. So what we're going to do is we're going to strip relatively quick. We're in milky water. Hopefully the fish will not see the fly. We're going to get it to where my lift point is, like I told you, out there about 35 feet. Now watch. I lift, and at the last second, you'll see the fly just pop up. Let's do that again. I strip to my lift point, get to that middle note to where that lift point is, and then I go up, 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 up. At the last second, I pop it out of the water. Versus this. This is what we did the first time. Just try to rip it out. You can see all that water coming off that fly line. That's not good. We're going to strip to that lift point, elevate the rod up, but at the last second, you just pop it right up. The only thing that's coming out is your fly, a little bit of shooting action right to it, and then we gauge with a couple false casts, put it right back, and hope that we get a bite from that thing. So now, on the ocean, that water is crystal clear. Those fish see everything. So when you go to make your strip to your lift point, I don't want you to strip real fast. Because if you strip real fast, even though you're using a smaller fly out there, they will see that fly racing past them or racing away from them, and you might bend that lead fish. And like I said, takes everything with him. You don't want to do that. So out there, you're going to get a slower strip to get it away from the fish. Now, once you get it away from the fish, you can accelerate that strip to get it out there. But then again, you're going to get your pickup point. It's going to be a little exit out of the water. Adjust your cast, take a couple false casts, position it right back out to the target, and do it again. Slow strips. Find the point that works. Lift up, little pop at the end, and go back down. Now, this is something that you're going to have to figure out on your own. Like I said, everybody's got a different pickup point. Mine is about 35 feet. In Florida Bay, we generally use bigger flies. I've got a big fly on this right now. That will make you really figure out where that pickup point is, because trying to lift all that line and that big fly out takes a lot of practice. But I'm here to tell you, practice with the bigger fly, because when you get to that point to where you know where that lift point is with that big fly, and you can make that work every time, when you put the little flies on the ocean, the little worm flies or whatnot, it'll be a piece of cake to get that out. So work on that with that bigger fly, work on that stroke. The second chance cast, third chance cast will give you an opportunity to take advantage of every shot you might get. And after all, that's what we're looking to do. So give it a try. It's worked for me for years. I think it might work for you as well.